does one even survive this amount of drama? I found out my husband hired my friend to strip at his bachelor party. That's uncomfortable. This was first posted June 17th, 2020. 4 years ago, I got married to my husband after dating for 6 years, so 10 years total now. My friend Rebecca has danced since she was 21. She stopped last year after getting married and is going to be a stay-at-home mom when her baby is born. Since our children were very close and we're basically neighbors, she lives at the bottom of the road we live on. Last week, one of my husband's friends visited at the same time as Rebecca, as I had made plans to go shopping with her. I forgot to cancel and she showed up. After she left, my husband's friend commented that he can't believe we're still friends after the bachelor party. When I asked what my husband... Wait, what? So you didn't know until after? When I asked my husband what his friend meant, he refused to comment, and we got into a huge fight over it when he told me that Rebecca had been the stripper at his bachelor party. I think I can say stripper. I texted Rebecca in the moment that I don't want her around anymore, but she hasn't responded in a week. I feel betrayed by both of them, but I know it was just her job. I miss Rebecca a lot, but I'm so hurt. I don't know what to do. Listen, I think the hardest part is that they both hid it from you, and they hid it from you for a reason. That is so uncomfortable. If I even, bless her, if she wants to do that for a living, go ahead, girl. You shake that ass, you do what you gotta do. But if I was a dancer and that was my job, respectfully, if my friend's husband was wanting to hire me, I probably would be uncomfortable with that. But if not, I would at least make sure my friend was comfortable with that, which is bizarre. That whole thing is like bizarre to me. We have an update, June 19th, 2020. I confronted them both separately. They both gave two very different stories. Rebecca says that my husband got drunk, groped her, and when she refused, he pushed her and started to yell at her. Apparently, my husband and his friends believe that I shouldn't be friends with her because she led them on. My husband says that they didn't sleep together, but Rebecca tried to initiate... Whoa! Whoa! Okay, this is more than just dancing and her job. My husband says that they didn't sleep together, but Rebecca tried to initiate and performed... if you know what I'm saying, performed while he was blackout drunk. I'm staying with my parents because I don't know who to believe here or if I should even believe either of them. All I've done is argue with my husband since the confession. I've left more confused than ever, and honestly, I just want to say to both of them, but if my husband's story is true, then he's totally innocent. But what if Rebecca is telling the truth? What if neither of them are? I'm sick of them both. I haven't stopped crying since arriving at my mother's, to be honest, and I don't think I can. Why would he hide this for 4 years? Why would she, if they both believe they're fully innocent and victims here? My husband is a mean drunk, but he's always so soft-spoken, and I don't know if he can do those things that Rebecca claimed. But I don't know how he reacts around his friends, but I've known him longer than Rebecca too. But I'm all for believing women. I feel like by agreeing with my husband, I'm denying Rebecca's story and side. Why is this all coming out now? This is crazy. We have a final update. This one came June 20th. I realize I don't care anymore. I have done nothing but think about my husband through our marriage. My entire life has revolved around him. All my thoughts revolved around him, and I've finally realized I've been the only one keeping this marriage going. I've been relying on him and forgiving him for such a lot of BS because I don't have anyone else. I gave him everything, and that's not happening anymore. Maybe finding out about Rebecca just sped things up. Maybe I relied too heavily on my husband. I told him this morning that it's over. He has yet to stop texting me, begging me for a chance. I texted Rebecca and I told her I no longer want her in my life either. Both have confessed to sleeping together and continuing to do so. My husband out of anger to insult me, and maybe Rebecca wanted a last F you. She got that, yep. Rebecca's baby, oh, how is it getting worse? Rebecca's baby is my husband's. So to say F you back, I messaged her partner to let him know. I'm devastated, obviously, but now we have to make plans about what's happening with the house and custody, and I can't afford to continue crying about it. Rebecca's partner let me know at 6 p.m. that she has moved. He helped her move all of her stuff into my husband's house. The way I would go mental. It all happened so fast, and I can't believe I was so oblivious to this. Maybe I wanted to be. I was not prepared. In the first part of the story, I was just talking about if I would dance at my friend's husband's bachelor party. No, this is a full-blown affair, and I don't know what their plan was. Especially like, that baby's yours, you know it's yours, you're having an ongoing affair. Were we just gonna pretend that that baby wasn't yours and let her person raise the child? That's a lot. That story delivered, let me tell you. Next up, am I the a-hole if I reported the couple's therapist that married my ex-boyfriend a year after our session with her? The ultimate betrayal, because we trust our therapists with every part of our being, because you're supposed to. What a traitor. Yeah, just dig that knife right into my back. This story was first posted February 19th, 2020. In 2017, I, female 25, saw a couples therapist with my then boyfriend, male 36. After 3 sessions with her, I refused to return due to her blatant flirtatious behavior and extremely judgmental attitude towards me, which my ex-boyfriend called me delusional for pointing out. Of course he did. She had told me that I seemed too immature, not ready for therapy or a serious relationship. The whole thing was focused on my ex-boyfriend and his complaints about me. She never asked about my feelings or perspective in the relationship. We broke up about 2 months after the sessions, but I stayed living with my ex-boyfriend until November. Once after I moved out, I had to return to our old apartment to get mail. This was in December. And that was the first time I saw the therapist with my ex. They happened to be getting ready to go out on his motorcycle and were both wearing full face motorcycle helmets. But I knew from her body type and hair that it was her, along with my instincts, which suspected something was going on the whole time. But nevertheless, I moved on with my life. I just found out yesterday my ex got married due to a friend telling me about a photo he posted on Facebook. The photo was of him and my ex-therapist celebrating their 1-year wedding anniversary. I found her on Facebook with the same name, and sure enough, they got married September of 2018. Or earlier. That is just when she posted the wedding photos. This was less than a year after the breakup with my ex, and barely over a year after our sessions with her ended. I feel like that should be illegal. I am considering filing a complaint with the American Counseling Association. My friends and mental health counselors I know say I have enough evidence. I am not upset that my ex moved on, so have I. I thank the universe every day that I am no longer with that narcissist. However, I feel deeply disturbed to find out he married our therapist, especially remembering all the harmful stuff she said to me in those sessions, which to be honest really messed with my head. I fear coming off as a bitter ex. Am I the a-hole? No. You have every right to be feeling those emotions. I would feel the same way. That would be so weird. So we have some updates which came the same day. I have made my decision. I am not going to participate in this post anymore, but I sincerely thank those of you that made meaningful contributions. And then she updated again. So one of my friends has basically taken upon herself to investigate this therapist. I swear she should be in the FBI. She found out that this is the 3rd last name that this woman has practiced psychotherapy with. Under the first last name in 2014, she was charged with a DUI with property damage. She also comes up on health grades with 5 1-star reviews and an overall 3-star rating. Essentially, what this new information does for me is confirm that she has been a crappy human being with crappy morals for quite some time. There's no way this is the first time she has caused undue harm to a client. Therefore, I can say with certainty that I am reporting. Wild. Guys, the drama is hot today. Here I am just giving it out for free on YouTube. Joking. These people are giving it out for free on Reddit. They deserve the credit. Who the hell am I? I think my girlfriend is cheating on me with my best friend because of Wi-Fi. Does she have his Wi-Fi or something? Let's find out. This was posted February 10th, 2020. Why is everything happening in 2020? Were we all just losing our minds during that time? So using an old throwaway for obvious reasons, but basically my girlfriend and I have been dating for a bit over a year now and have been seriously considering moving in together. Last night we decided to go out for dinner and discuss it. We decided that I would move in with her once my lease is up in April. I texted my best friend, let's call him Jake, to tell him the good news. He told us he wanted to buy us a few drinks and we all crashed at his place to celebrate. He said we could just meet at his house, then Uber to the bar. We figured, why not, right? He's met her numerous times and we all get along really well, but always while out somewhere or at my place, never his house. Well, we get to his house and my girlfriend says she really needs to use the bathroom before we start drinking. So she and I run inside. She sets her phone and purse on the table and she runs to the bathroom. My buddy stayed outside in case the Uber showed up. My girlfriend's phone went off and she asked me to check to see if it was her friend finally getting back to her about her coming with us or not. My buddy is single and she told me she would try to hook them up. Well, when I turned on her screen, I noticed that it showed it was connected to a Wi-Fi network. I checked on my own phone and all the Wi-Fi networks there have passcodes. I'm trying to see if maybe there's any other reasonable explanation before I jump to conclusions. I was thinking maybe she used to date an ex that lives nearby, but she just replaced her phone about 3 or so months ago because her old one broke. I don't know what to do. I don't want to risk losing my girlfriend and possibly my best friend just because I'm freaking out about something so small. I don't know if I'm ready to lose both of them at the same time. That's interesting. You'd only have it if you connected to it before, and that is interesting. Are you sure it's his Wi-Fi network and it wasn't picking up on one of the neighbors? Then again, those would need a passcode too. All right, we have an update, so let's find out. It came 4 days later. I spoke with her 2 nights ago and was just straightforward and honest. I told her about how I saw that her phone had connected to Wi-Fi and I wasn't sure why it did that. She got quiet and didn't say anything for what felt like an eternity. Then she just said she wasn't sure what it would have connected to, maybe a local shop or something. I would have maybe accepted this, but I realized that when we got back that night, she went to get a glass of water. I was sitting in the kitchen and the very first cabinet she opened was the glasses. It could have been a coincidence, but at that point, I doubt it. She broke down and confessed that she had spent a couple of nights with him a few weeks ago, that he had hit her up on Facebook and that they only talked there. She said it was a mistake and purely physical for fun. It's a lot to process right now. I've shut them both out and I'm just trying to get a better hold on my feelings and emotions. I feel betrayed by both of them. Why? Why do people do this? There are so many people in this world that you can fool around with. Why does it have to be your best friend's partner? That makes no sense to me. Or your partner's best friend. So many people. Or be single and hook up with whoever you want. I need a sip of water. I'm getting pissed at all these cheaters, let me tell you. Grab your beverage of choice. We are hydrating. Yeah. Just give me the Grammy. Cheers. Would it be okay or weird if I asked out the stranger who saved me from being kidnapped out to dinner? I just want to hear about the kidnapping, if I'm being so honest. Not in a rude way. I'm genuinely so intrigued. This came September 1st, 2018. 5 days ago, and against my best interest, I was out running at about 10 p.m. Oh, girl, no. Nobody out there should be running alone at 10 p.m. Not in this world. Are you crazy? Guys, someone just got arrested. I saw this morning. Someone just got arrested in Toronto, a 32-year-old man, for using a drone to fly around Toronto condos, catching women in their apartment. Catching footage of them. We're not even safe in our own homes, let alone running at 10 p.m. at night. Our school has an open campus that is surrounded by woods and a couple of easy trails. It can sometimes get a bit scary at night. Since my school and its surrounding neighborhood is very safe, I don't usually worry much when I go out running alone. That particular night, my phone, which was also a flashlight, decided to die mid-run. I should have known what could happen since my phone had been having battery issues. That immediately set me into a panic since I was on a pretty secluded trail with very minimal lighting. I stopped running to fumble with my phone to see if it would miraculously turn back on, but nope. I was also wearing light reflected leggings, so I was definitely visible to others. I was about to start running again when I noticed a guy approaching me. I hadn't noticed him prior to this, but he was probably hidden in the woods next to the trail. There is like a public bathroom and a picnic table. He was smoking a cigarette and had his phone in hand, and I immediately got bad vibes. By the time I realized where he even came from, he was already only a couple feet away from me, where he called out, "Miss, are you lost?" His speech sounded a bit slurred, and he reeked of cigarette smoke, which led me to think that he was probably a homeless drunk living near the picnic table and public bathroom. I told him no and that I was on my way to my friend's house, despite my athletic gear. Then he gave me a once-over, whistled, and said, "Damn girl, you look delicious. Look at that ass." Ew. And he slapped my butt. I'm throwing hands at that point. I immediately unleash the beast. I think I yelped and immediately stepped away, but he reached out and grabbed my wrist. I thought it was actually the end for me, and I screamed as loud as I could, but there was literally no one near me. My heart was beating out of my chest and I felt like I was going to faint. He chuckled and said, "Shut up, no one can hear you anyway." My heart was beating out of my chest and there was so much adrenaline coursing through my body. Thank the stars for what happened next. From behind me, the trail suddenly became lit and I realized there was a biker heading my way. Then I heard him call, "Maddie, is that you? Holy crap, what are you doing out so late?" The guy muttered, "Crap," and immediately let go and began running. The biker got closer and immediately braked and got off. I had no clue who this guy was, and he doesn't know me either. He asked me if I was okay and what that guy was doing, and I explained everything that happened and almost got on my knees to thank him. He looked just as freaked out as me. He asked where I live, and I told him I was a student of the college at the time, and he told me that he's a grad student at the same school. He also immediately took off his sweatshirt and gave it to me to wear since I was only in a tank top. He then walked me all the way back to my house, around 2 miles. On the way, he tried to ask me about school and stuff, but I was still a bit too frazzled to give any sensible response, so he mostly just talked about himself. He told me he was a second-year CS student at the engineering school. He likes to cook. His favorite show is The Office. He enjoys playing basketball, but he sucks. He works part-time at Google, and more stuff that I can't remember. He also gave me his email and number and told me that if I needed him to talk with police or file a report, to just shoot him a message or call. He apologized for what happened and said that he was glad I was safe. I thanked him a billion more times and I went home. The next day, I texted him and I thanked him again, and I also went and filed a police report. But I feel like I can't thank him enough. He literally saved my life. Without a doubt, if he just kept biking or didn't see me, I would have been possibly killed. I don't know how I can show my gratitude. I really want to take him out for dinner, but would that be weird? I also have to return his sweatshirt. I'm also a bit infatuated by him. Do you guys think that's a good idea or anything else I can do to show my gratitude? If I do go about asking him to dinner, what should I say? Should I call or text? Oh my gosh. Okay, terrible story. I'm looking at the exciting part. Terrible, terrible story. Thank God you're okay. And what a nice contrast of the sick people out there in this world, but also the good people out there in this world. Glad you're safe, genuinely. I think you should absolutely, like, what's the harm in just saying, I would love to make it up to you and return your sweater over some dinner? Do you want to grab some dinner sometime on me? I think that's casual. And if he's, you know, like in a relationship, he'll just say, oh, that's very nice, but I'm in a relationship. I think you should totally shoot him a text. I wouldn't call. That's wild. I would never call and ask someone on a date. Bizarre. No, no. We have an update, which came a month later, September 30th, 2018. A lot of you suggested that I just shoot him a text and give him an update in terms of my situation, and then ask if we could meet up for coffee. Dinner seemed too much like a date, so I could return his sweatshirt and thank him. All right, I still think dinner would have been fine, but all right. That's basically exactly what I did. I shot him a text and I told him that I'd filed a police report and that the police will be in contact with me. Then I asked him in a double text if I could take him out for coffee to thank him and return his sweatshirt. He actually didn't respond for a good day, and I was really starting to feel like I had totally overstepped, but then he did. He first told me that it was great that I filed a police report, and then he asked me how I was feeling. He also said that I didn't have to thank him and that he was just doing what anyone would have done if they were in that situation, but that a quick coffee sounded good. So we scheduled to have coffee on Saturday morning. Going into our meeting, I was actually super nervous for some reason, and I ended up being 15 minutes early. So I sat for about 10 minutes, fidgeting with his sweater and waiting for him to show up. To be honest, I wasn't even sure I knew what he looked like. The entire night is still pretty jumbled, and when he was walking me back, I barely paid any attention to him. It was also super dark, since I was just replaying what happened over and over in my head. I just remembered that he was tall and had a nice smile. Then this really tall dude walks in, scans the shop, sees me, and then gives me an awkward smile and waves. I didn't know what to say after our initial nice ties, so I blurted out, "Whoa, your eyes are actually blue? I thought they were brown." I wanted to crawl into a hole after I said that, but he laughed and said, "Yeah, they can be deceiving in the dark." Then we ordered coffee. He refused to let me pay. Oh, we love him. I hope this is the start of a love story. First things first, I gave him back his sweatshirt and he thanked me. We ended up chatting for 2 hours about mostly random stuff, our classes, our summer, The Office, which is also my favorite show, politics, music, etc. I also asked him why he decided to call me Maddie when he was trying to save me, and he told me he read an article somewhere that if you pretend to know a stranger who's in trouble, you're most likely to help without escalating the situation or getting you or the other person hurt. PSA, that's a good hot tip for us to stay safe out there. So yes, he's sweet and caring and devilishly handsome, and we really clicked. But he didn't seem that interested in me, not that it was a date. So we then went about 5 days with no contact until I came across a meme about The Office and I decided on a whim to send it to him. It ended up being a good decision since we ended up talking until 1 a.m. Next morning, I was feeling bold again after much debating. I sent him a text that said, "Hey, can I please take you out to lunch? Coffee didn't count since you didn't even let me pay for you." I'm so excited. He said yes, and this time I managed to successfully pay for our meal. I wore a nice sundress to lunch and he said, "I love that dress. You look really good." We had a great time again, but as we were leaving the restaurant, I realized that he left his phone on the chair, so I grabbed it and gave it to him. This is important for later on. About 2 weeks later, he went out of town, but we were still sporadically texting. He sent me a text that said, "Hey, can I take you out to dinner to thank you for grabbing my phone?" Oh my God, he's so cute. For those of you who might not have caught on, he was mimicking how I asked him out. Anyway, of course I said yes, and now we're going out to dinner tomorrow night. This is the start of a love story. It totally is. And even if you guys don't end up dating long term, what a fun friendship and bond this could be. Your little guardian angel. I want an update on that one. I want to know. Do you guys get married? Have kids? I want to know it all. Am I the a-hole for financially screwing over my sister after finding out she's close with my ex and his wife? This was July 4th, 2025. Okay, this is quite literally last week. Usually I wouldn't take personal advice from strangers online, but everyone in my life seems to think that I am petty, scorned, bitter woman, which I probably am, and I need some objective advice. My ex-husband, currently 43 male, and I, 43 female, were college sweethearts. For me, life felt perfect. I trusted him completely. That's why it was so shocking when I found out that he was in love with his much younger colleague. She was around 24 at the time. I won't get into details of how I found out, but the affair was well known at his workplace. When I confronted him, all he said was, "I'm sorry, I tried really hard not to fall for her." Thank you so hard for trying. My hero. He didn't seem sorry at all. It felt like he wanted me to leave him, so I did. That was 6 years ago. Our son was 4 then, and it was the worst time of my life. I honestly don't know how I got through it. And because I was desperate, I wanted him to fight for me, to fight for our family. but he didn't. He was quick to sign the divorce papers and didn't even fight for custody. It was as if he had started a new life and completely erased the old one. It took years of therapy to feel normal again, to stop checking that woman's social media and comparing myself to her. The fact that she's very pretty and charming didn't help. His family loved her, and as disgusting as it sounds, one of our common friends even said it out loud. I don't support cheating, but I mean, look at her. When I told her about the cheating. I don't care if the girl looks like Kendall frickin' Jenner. You don't say that to me. I guess that's what everyone was thinking. This one was just stupid enough to voice it out. They got married 3 years ago and they now have a daughter. A picture perfect little family. The current arrangement is that our son stays with my ex on weekends and holidays, which works fine for the most part. Last week, I found out my sister, 28 female, has been in touch with my ex all these years. That would have been forgivable since they were close when we were married and she saw him as a brother. But she's actually best friends with his new wife and she kept it from me for 6 years. I only found out because she left her phone at my house and I saw several texts from the wife. When I asked her about it, she just brushed it off and said it wasn't a big deal. I told her she can do what she wants, but I will be cutting her off completely. I was helping her pay her college loans, LOL. And I'd be going no contact. She called me unreasonable and said I'm being petty and unable to move on from something that happened a long time ago. She also said the wife is a lovely person and a good friend. She said she will be effed financially speaking. I told her to go F herself. Somehow my parents agree with her. So, am I the a-hole? This is tricky. Of course you're hurt from what happened. But I feel like more of the hurt is coming from that's your sister. You're paying her way through college. So you obviously love her and you guys are close. And she's been lying and hiding it from you. That part would devastate me. Not the affair and we've all moved on. But it's the fact that I trust, you're my sister. I would never want to do anything behind my sister's backs that would possibly harm them. Like the thought of me upsetting them makes me want to cry. So that's crazy. We have an update though. The update came 3 days later. So I spoke to my sister again. She apologized for reacting the way the last time. Also for keeping it for me all these years. She said she didn't tell me because she knew I would ask her to choose and she did not want to be in that position. She said she never wanted to hurt me, but at the same time, she couldn't bring herself to walk away from the people who had been there for her. She said it never felt fair to cut him off completely. Growing up, our parents were barely around. They were always busy with work, and for a long time, it was just me and my ex who were actually present in her life. He was like family to her. Then she brought up the accident she was in around 5 years ago. I knew about it, of course. She had multiple fractures, hematomas, and internal bruising. She was in the hospital for a while and bedridden for weeks. I always assumed our parents were taking care of her. I never asked, and I never really checked in. Okay, maybe you're not as close as I thought. I was too busy trying to manage a recent divorce, a small child, a career, and whatever else was on my mental health. She said it was my ex's wife who stepped up. She took her to every appointment, picked up prescriptions, brought food, helped her move around, stayed with her when she couldn't be alone. And at one point she said, I know it hurts you, but she was there, he was there, you weren't. You didn't even come to the hospital. I thought I was gonna die and you didn't even show up. Well, that's where my mind was going. That part is surprising. She cried while telling me all of this. She said she still wants a relationship with me, but she's not going to cut them off. She also said she's fine with me not helping with her loans anymore. She's planning to get a part-time job and will figure it out herself. She told my ex and his wife about our conversation. Apparently they offered to help her financially, but she turned it down too. I just listened. Then I told her she's free to do whatever she wants, and so am I, and to never call me again. So that's where we are. Well, we got more context and understanding on the situation. How are we feeling about it, you guys? Let me know your thoughts and feelings in the comment section on all of this. Stay classy out there. Stay sassy. I'll see you tomorrow.